bees. And I used to know two people that used to go and remove bees, and they work very closely with the sheriff's department. So if you contact the sheriff department, they will be able to get you in touch with somebody to remove them.
Oh, nice. Thank you.
You're going to have to try to entice the queen out of that hole.
Yeah.
With phromines or whatever. But if they're too, when I see them that way, when they're way into a building or where you can't get at the queen or entice her out, sadly, the only thing you can do is kill them.
Or pull apart what
Or
you
pull it
made.
apart, like you said,
Yeah.
in that way.
He tried getting one out of a house and could not get the queen out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I prefer not to kill them because, I mean, they're the lifeblood of our crops here.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah, they're very needed. Yeah.
I mean, sometimes this year I didn't have any bees and I just left the hives out. And God sent us 2 hives of bees. I never did anything. They just started set up house.
Yeah.
You know, and we got 18 pounds of honey out of the one.
Whoa.
So,
But yeah, our bees die so easily here. Every winter we almost lose them. We can't afford to keep buying them. So
ship them over,
God
please.
sent us some, but he's gone a few times and gotten hives out of different places.
Yeah, I'm registered as one of those people that goes and chases bees.
Okay. I'm thinking your travel would be a little extensive to come here.
Yeah. So I'll just take the rock, put it in the box, ship it here with the bees. I'll take care of it. I'll ship you back the rock.
But you know what, Holly? There are people that move bees from here to Arizona to New Mexico, Kansas, Missouri. They move the bees. They do.
Oh yeah, they go all over. The almond groves are the biggest ones that get them in the spring. They come from all over the country there.
Interesting. I'm thinking then I should call the sheriff's department then.
Yeah, if they can at least or Google bee rescue. It might near me.
Yeah.
That's how people find me. I'm listed on a site with a beekeepers club.
There's a lot of beekeepers around.
Yeah.
We have
Sandy's
one.
really good at it. Sandy loves her bees, right?
Yep, we're little bees across the street. I just had somebody leave me some cream clover cream.
Holly, just as long as they're not Africanized bees. So check their passport.
Yeah. Well, check their papers, make sure they're not illegal.
That's right. And everybody, I see other names on here, but nobody has their videos on. You guys can turn on videos and see us.
Well, I'm gonna turn mine off and eat.
We're getting ready to
We
eat.
have about an hour and 20 minutes until the next one, so you guys can stay and talk or go do whatever.
Hey, Holly, we never got your chat. We couldn't find it.
Okay, I'll resend it.
Don't send it. We're not going to see it on the chat. I'm just telling you.
Okay.
Just tell us straight out. We're off the air or whatever.
Okay.
Well,
No, it's
so
on.
private.
Everything's on.
Everything's
I
on.
think the chat stays with whatever you put it on. I don't think they go to all the different ones, because I finally found the chat underneath our little faces down here. There's 3 dots and I found it today, but I went on and there was no chat not even on there.
Oh, okay.
I think they stay with the program that's on.
Yeah, tried to send you a test.
It's a test.
See if I can. Problem is our little faces under here are over my little 3 dots.
Craig to me text. It's
Where'd it go?
that's right there. There it is.
Thank you, Sandy.
Test.
Yeah. Test. Yes, we got one that says test.
Wow. Cool. Now you got to figure out how to get back.
And Hein kept talking about credit and stuff, but the credit goes to the Father in heaven, because I couldn't do it without him.
Yeah.
Other people around that help, but
Yeah, well, we appreciate it all, everybody's effort in making this happen.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
So we're having pizza for lunch today.
Oh,
If
you are?
anyone will join us.
We're just Italian people there, lasagna and pizza.
Yeah.
Yeah, every Sunday is pizza day. I have a gluten-free pizza dough that I make. And I get the bag and I make 6 of them at once. I just take it out of the freezer and throw the pizza together.
That's good.
Oh, Joseph, that's fine, especially right now. You can turn it on. He just sent a message and said he was eating breakfast.
Breakfast,
Yeah.
Make us hungry.
1 o'clock, it's time for lunch.
And you have to tell us what you're eating because we're all nosy.
Yeah.
And depending on what it is, we may want the recipe. So
Right.
Yeah.
here you
I
are.
was good at stealing those. Just hold them up to the screen.
Oh, and it's not Joseph anyway. Looks yummy.
This is what I'm eating. It's a smoothie.
There you go.
Actually, when I get up in the morning, I squeeze a lemon in the water and I drink that down with about probably 2 liters of water. So I put the lemon in here. I put orange, apple, banana, and blueberries. And I put in some cashews and almonds and 2 Brazil nuts.
I saw what Holly said. Now you just got to
And
figure out how to
some
get it.
sunflower seeds, flax seeds, pumpkin seeds, and sesame seeds.
I don't see
And
it.
I blend it up.
We need something to rate because I know.
A good healthy one.
Looks really good.
Sometimes I only eat 1 meal a day. Like yesterday, I ate 2, but the last couple of days, I get up too late and I only eat 1 meal, and I don't like to eat before I go to bed. And there isn't enough time to eat a second meal, you know. I like to wait about 5 hours in between a meal. So I thought I'd better eat a little bit earlier today, so I don't have to stay up all night to try to eat my second meal. If I plan on going to bed early, this will be the only thing I'll eat.
Wow, that's not very much.
Well, it seems to be getting me by.
That's good. So are you here in California somewhere? I haven't met you yet.
No, I'm actually in Canada,
Oh, nice.
in Ontario.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I have family in Michigan, eh?
Okay, you know where the Michigan border is. There's on the Canada side, there's Windsor. Windsor in the Michigan Tunnel and Bridge, and that is right there.
Right. Port Huron is right across the bridge.
Yeah. So I'm about 40 miles from the border.
Nice. That's great. We were back there just a couple months ago to visit my family.
Okay.
Oh,
So how is it? Is it in the States anyways? Are all the states still in lockdown, or?
No,
not all of them, but some are.
Yeah.
Depends on the governor. Depends on if you had a Democratic governor or a Republican governor.
So who's free? Excuse me. Who's freeing you up? The Democrats or the Republicans?
No Republicans. Democrats are hunkering you down.
Yeah.
Except for Michigan, she just got her hands slapped yesterday.
Yeah.
yes, she
Supreme
did.
Court of Michigan said all of her things were illegal. And so they're free and open now, I guess.
Okay.
He's
Is
gonna,
that why you were visiting down there, Holly?
No, I was just visiting them. I go back there about once a year to visit them for about a week and a half. So that was nice.
Okay.
But they were allowed, the restaurants were open, even inside seating. But you had to wear masks going in and when you exit, and still limited socialization.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right
Walmart.
here, here in Ontario, we were in stage 3, so everything was opened up. And then in Quebec, the province next to us said that they were, well, we've been getting more and more and more. Well, they're doing more testing. It just makes sense that there'd be more positives or whatever. So they say this is somebody from Quebec, the prime minister in Quebec said this is a second wave. So everybody caught on to that. So Ontario's in a second wave. So they reduced, before that, you could have 25 people in your house and 100 outside in your yard. But now they reduced that to only 10 in your house and
There's another message.
25 outside. So we're in a second wave now, they say. The schools are still open. And if the kids develop a sniffle or something like that, you don't have to bring them to the doctor because they usually don't have the virus or anything, they're saying.
Now I lost it. Shit.
It's law now, so by law, that you have to wear a mask any store that you go into, or a face shield, something to cover your face, eh? So
Yep.
that's what we're doing here. I hope they don't go in any further lockdown, like because they had the businesses all closed down.
Audio, but I don't have the video.
Now I don't know what's happened with the SDA church or other churches, because I haven't been in a church in 5 years, really. I just thought that they weren't teaching what I wanted to learn. I had to talk to Sandy one time how I got to know about BETV. It was like a miracle. I had been watching Amazing Facts at ADTV, and for some reason, I'd been reading my Bible. I just started reading it through. It was 2011. I just started reading it through again and wanted to get serious about God and my relationship with him. So I started around July or August, I think it was. And then all of a sudden, I got to about, I don't know, Exodus or Deuteronomy or something like that. I was at. And something happened to the satellite. I don't know. I thought it shifted. And I could only get 2 stations, BTV, and they didn't have a logo yet, so I didn't know what they were. And Hebrew TV. Well, Hebrew is a secular station. I'm not going to watch that. Like, I watched it a couple times for news. I go, it's got all this secular stuff. So BTV was in, and I'm listening to him, and John was on most of the time. And what happened was that he's bringing up all this stuff that I've just read about. And I didn't put it all together till John brought it to my attention. So I'd go look back at the Bible, and everything that he was speaking was true. And then I find out about the peace. And then I think you were just going to keep tabernacles somewhere a couple months into that or something like that. So, and I kind of didn't do anything for tabernacles, but I started keeping the Passover in 2012 because of it. And then sometime after that, the satellite cleared up and I had all my stations back. So I believe that was a miracle from God. And then, of course, I got to tell the church about this. Hey, there's statutes that we're not keeping. And the pastor really didn't like that. I was reading up, and there's a lot of statutes. Do you know that? He goes, yeah. He goes, do you know that the feasts are statutes? Oh, you think we could talk about it? Oh, after lunch, we can talk about it. He hid himself from me. So we had lunch and he went upstairs or something like that and he hid himself from me. He wouldn't talk to me about it. And then months later, I got people to believe a little bit of it. Actually, it took me not months later. everybody was opposed to me. Every time they'd bring out the quarterly, and there was always something in there about the statutes, and I'd bring up, well, the feasts are statutes and stuff like this, and people would look at me like, that guy's crazy. There's something wrong with him. But finally, by 2015, so I'm keeping the feast from 2012. Finally, by 2015, a guy that I got baptized with, he thought I was crazy too. But he started having Bible studies. Excuse me. So I showed up to his Bible study one night, and I give him some Ellen White quotes about the feast and stuff. How the book of the law was still, we were supposed to still keep the things in it, and how the statutes clarify the commandments of God and stuff like this. So he looked into that, and maybe a week or something last time, he was reading some I think it was Steve Bakioki or whatever that guy's name is, books and that. And his mom, I was in with his mom pretty good, and her name was Heather, and she goes, yeah, you got Corey interested in the feast now, so he's reading all he can about the things. And then it took me 8 months to get him to keep them. And then we kept our first Passover, and no, that would have been 2014, because we kept our first Passover together with them. After 8 months, I had been trying to teach them what people like totally against it. We kept our first Passover together in 2015. I'd been just keeping it with BETV while we were still watching BETV then. You were my family since 2011. So that's the way it happened. And I remember one guy, he was like, because I'd bring up 1888 and what happened there, and I believe that part of the rejection was the righteousness of Christ. They accepted their own righteousness, and that the other part of it was the statutes. They rejected the statutes, and they rejected the feast along with the statutes. So I believe it was part of it. And this one guy, he had a fiance, and she had a writing pad, and I went over to Corey's house, and she was going to write down everything about the feast, and I could not get through Leviticus 23. Her boyfriend or fiance kept on interrupting me and bringing me to other parts of the Bible and saying that things were not right in the Bible and stuff like this. And after the whole thing was done, she never got nothing out of it. And her and her fiance left. And then I looked at Corey and I goes, 1888 all over again. He goes, yes, I seen it was like he was possessed or something. That's the kind of things and he kind of get on their case a couple times after they started keeping the feast, but he couldn't get anywhere. And so that's my story of how I got to accept the feast and stuff like that, and how I got a few other people into it. Since then, like in 2016, I went to Thailand, tried to get them into it, left them some New Discovery book as that, did a sermon on it. They'd only let me do one sermon, but I made it a long one, an hour and 10 minutes. I put a lot of Ellen White quotes. I had E-sword in there and definitions and everything. Well, it's time, this is in the church, and they didn't want to hear, I was going to go back to Canada in June, and they booked me for an extra sermon in July, just to make it look good,
I remember when you went over there.
Yeah. So I went over the following year, and I could speak about other things, but they really didn't want to listen to the piece. So I tried to get books out there and stuff like that. And I talked to Sandy if she could fill up a box with books and new discoveries in the skeleton and SCA closet and stuff. So it's a thing. I think it was 2016, 17, 2018. I went to the Philippines and I was in one area of the Philippines and passed out some books there and started teaching them about the feast there. And they liked, actually, they asked me to do a thing on the sanctuary and Christ ministry. And it was during the 10 days of prayer. So I did a sermon on that and they really liked it. I was doing things in between, but they don't speak too much English, but they understood what I was saying.
Yep.
So, and then,
God was with you there.
what's that?
God will be with you if they can't understand.
Oh, that brings up a point. One time I was in Thailand, I had a chest infection and I could hardly speak. Like my volume was really low. I could hardly speak. And God had helped me through, because when I go into writing, putting a sermon together, I just pick a topic and all of a sudden I pray and I look through the Ellen White stuff in the Bible and it just flows together, and I have to actually shorten it down because it's always going to be over an hour and a half or something like that. So anyways, I had put something together and it was about an hour. And this was during like what they call a Vesper meeting. It's Friday evening, which is actually Sabbath by their time, because the sun usually goes down around 6:30. So they usually have the Vesper meeting. So it'd be Sabbath evening, Friday night, about 7:30. And I had a meeting with them and I prayed. And when I hit the PowerPoint and started talking about it and going through it, my voice was loud.
Wow.
I was totally healed of it. So that's how much God wants his word to get around. And I'm not any better than anybody else. Like I'd never done sermons before I went to Thailand. So, I had talked to people about things, but I'd never done them. So I did a bunch in Thailand. I did a bunch in the Philippines, and we were in one place in the Philippines. It was only for so long in 2018, and we flew back because we had been visiting my wife's brother, and it was only for about 30 days or 2 months or something like that. I forget what it was. And then we flew back to where her parents lived, because she brought it was her and me and her parents, both parents, that she brought to visit her brother. And her brother just happened to have a second house, so we could stay in the second house. So we flew back to where her parents live, and that's not too far from Malapai, or it's called Malapai, not too far from Manila. And we went there for a while, and then she had been doing some work as a teacher and principal in the school, DSHEP Foundational Academy. And we went there, and I worked as a volunteer teacher. I wouldn't accept money. I don't believe in accepting money myself. She was getting paid. Somebody has to get paid, right? And the teacher, principal that was there came to her, and she was crying. She says, I don't want to be principal anymore. So my wife had to take over the position again, because the teachers are just too hard-headed. They don't care too much about it's an Adventist school, but it's off the chart. It isn't run by the Seventh-day Adventist agent corporation or whatever. They're just a Seventh-day Adventist, right? So I went there, and then I went there the year after, and then last year is the first year the 2019 COVID outbreak. It's the first year I didn't go. And now I was just looking at things, like, because my wife is there and she wants me to come, and I'm trying to get the house ready for sale. And I look at all the new guidelines you got to go through to get to into the Philippines. You got to arrange for your flight. You got to arrange for swab tests, and you have to pay for that. And it's 44,500 pesos, which is about maybe $120 Canadian. It'd be less than American money. We got to pay for that, so I'll have to pay for that. I got to arrange for that. I guess ahead of time, and I got to arrange for. They got a list on their website. I got to arrange for a quarantine hotel. They call them. That's government approved. So they have a list of them. So I got to pick one or whatever, because after I get the swab test, what I have to do is arrange to go to the hotel, tell them what hotel I'm going to, and then I get my checked baggage, and then I got to stay there anywhere from 24 to 48 hours. And if I'm negative after they receive the results back, then I can leave. And I got to pay for the hotel too. So a lot of different hoops to get through, and that was just updated as of September 27th. So new things, right? They want you to book everything ahead of time because there's so many people coming into the Philippines, and the Philippine people and people that are foreigners, that they don't want to overtax the system, and there's not enough people there to do the swab test. So you got to arrange for it ahead of time, or they might just pass, say, we're not ready for you. Go somewhere, come back, or something like that. So
That's just crazy.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going to happen after November, if it's going to get better or worse. I guess we'll wait and see. But the whole thing is crazy.
Well, did you get a thing from Lynn Wright? She emailed me about a thing that was passing, I think, November 29th, about the state had passed a law, and I think it was 3 months or something before it'd go into effect, which would be November 29th, and all kinds of things like this gives them the power to force other countries to worship on Sabbath. Is almost a total removal of the separation of church and state. I received that a few months ago. I thought everybody would have got that.
Well, but I don't know if it's really going to happen or what it is.
Well,
things are out there, and people make something out of them before they're here. So we wait and see. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a cautionary thing, but I mean, they got the power. Whether they do it or not is, they don't always act on everything right away, because the Senate and state voted, I think, 2019 or something, that there shouldn't be any more separation of church and state. It was supposed to go.
About a lot of meetings coming up, and the meetings haven't happened, and when they do, they might not be what they said. It's up to God. God will decide what's going to happen and when. So we just wait. I just wish this COVID stuff was over, because it's annoying.
It's getting real old.
Well, did you hear about the judge that died too? The Supreme Court judge in the U.S.?
Yes.
Well, if the one woman that they want in there, they elected a few, propose a few different people, but she is a charismatic Catholic.
Yeah.
And she's into forced vaccinations for COVID. So, but like you said, it's up to God who's going to get in there, and people have been too much interested in whether Trump will get in there or Biden gets in there. It doesn't matter. God will.